Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Andy Nguyen, and today we're going to be doing more keyboard content. So today we're going to be talking about switch films, but specifically we're going to be talking about thick films. One of my buddies in the keyboard community has sent me a set of thick films to try. What are switch films, you may ask? Films are used to insert between the top housing and the bottom housing of a switch. Why would you want to do this? Well, switch manufacturers, they have different tolerances depending on which manufacturer you buy from. So the stem may end up wobbling if you have a more loose tolerance in the switch. What this leads to is you can actually see wobble in the switch, but the more annoying thing is the stem may be a little bit misaligned. So when you put your caps on your keyboard, the really expensive caps like the GMK caps, they may be a little twisted. And that's because of tolerances in the stem and the top housing. You can do a Franken switch of sorts by using cherry tops or some tops by Otemu, and those will have tighter tolerances, leading to a stem that doesn't wobble and leading to more straight keycaps. And on top of fixing stem wobble, films actually improve the sound in most cases for the switch. I find that they make the switch sound deeper. Walker's Keyboard Science has a great thorough video on switch films and how they affect sound, but today I'm going to be focusing on these thick films. These are 3D printed and they're a little bit thicker than the standard films that I've been using, which are from THICC keyboards. In the continental United States, the THICC films are the go-to. Almost 9 out of 10 times, people are using THICC films in the switches, and in every single scenario, they have been great. You can buy them from Korea, you can buy them from the UX proxy. They're great by about $5.50 plus shipping to get to you and just ship in a regular envelope. But I'm always for trying new things and I'm always for innovating, so let's try out these thick films. In this board, this is the Think 6.5. I have Gateron Ink blacks and I have unwiped stems of them. These are built with the THICC films. I believe I used clears, which are very hard to use, I might add, because clear is really hard to see when you put it down. The other night, I found them on my bed. I don't know how I got there, but I ended up there. It just followed me upstairs. For this test, we're only going to be testing Gateron Ink blacks, and we're going to do an alternating. So we're going to do THICC film, thick film, THICC film, thick film. That way I can press them in succession, and you can hear for yourself whether or not these work for you. The description from Jinra said that the thick film will give a deeper thok. So we're here today to confirm that. So let's pull these out with the PC. You gotta be very careful. So now I'm going to use my KBD fans switch opener. Pop this on there, line up the legs with the metal pin, push, pop it open, there you go. So here, see in the reflection I have a clear film. I'm gonna make sure the stem stays in place. I don't want to fix that. I'll put the clear film aside. Look at that, invisible. I'm gonna grab these thick films. So let's give you a side-by-side comparison. This is the THICC film, this is the thick film. The thick film is just rectangular, whereas the THICC film has more precise cutouts. Jinra said he found that it wasn't necessary to have the cutouts because the film will line up anyway, so we'll be able to verify that today. So the rectangle is very different from the precise cutout of the THICC film, so we'll see how that affects the fit and sound. So I'm looking closely, and there's a little bit of texture on the thick film. We'll drop it on the switch. I typically like to put the film on the switch after I put in the spring. Okay. So it's hard to see, but I think it's lined up. Let's put our switch top back on. Let's get back to my regular recording setup so you can have a sound comparison that's going to be very similar to the rest of my sound test. All right, without further ado, let's do some sound tests. On my left, I have the THICC film. On my right, I have the thick film. This is just bare switch. We're going to put it right up against the mic. Give it a listen. THICC film, thick film. All right, now we're going to put it in the board. We're going to do THICC film, thick film, THICC film, thick film, no caps. Now that we've done that test, we'll do with caps. Once again, THICC film, thick film, THICC film, thick film. Knowing that there are standoffs right here, I'm going to swap to the third row. The intent of moving it over to this row is because with standoffs there's more rigidity in the plate, so it will produce a different sound. So now we have THICC film, thick film, THICC film, thick film. So my conclusion with this testing is that I don't really hear a difference between them. There's going to be variation in this board due to the fact that it has standoffs for the hot swap, and there's variation from switch to switch, but the two adjacent to each other, S and D, they sound very similar. Depending on where you hit it, one can sound deeper than the other. So I think the thick films are a viable competitor to the THICC films, at least for my testing in this thick integrated polycarbonate plate in a polycarbonate case. The sound is pretty consistent. If you were to test it in a brass plate, maybe you can hear the differences. But for this board, it sounds very similar. So you can't go wrong with either. If the price is right, if it's more accessible, if it's available, and you need it now, get the one that you can. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.